It's time to say no to kings. It's time to say no to Donald Trump. We've had enough. No King Trump. No unnecessary wars that rob our resources, sacrifice our brave servicemen.
The protest of Robert De Niro yesterday is a fool. He's a broken down fool standing out there. He got maggot. He got maggot yesterday. He got a big dose of it. But I just want to say it's a very unfair job.
Somehow, America has reached a point where Robert De Niro no longer sounds like just a Hollywood legend. He sounds like a man who saw a raccoon take control of a school bus and decided somebody had to stop it before the whole thing crashed. Because the moment De Niro stepped on stage and said Trump needed to be stopped now, the internet completely lost its mind. The reaction came so fast, you would think someone leaked the Super Bowl ending, a government secret, and the apocalypse schedule all at once. But the real twist was not only what De Niro said, it was what Trump reportedly did after hearing it. That is where this story goes from political drama to something even Netflix writers would probably reject for being too unbelievable.
I don't want to destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world.
It comes from you people, incredible people, good-looking people, too many good-looking people. I don't like good-looking people. I never liked good-looking people, I'll be honest with you. I've never admitted that before. But see, I'm allowed to, we won at the Supreme Court.
Before we get into the madness, hit the like button and subscribe, because this one is too wild to miss. The strangest part about American politics in 2026 is that movie premieres now feel calmer than political rallies. Meanwhile, political rallies are starting to look like deleted scenes from a disaster movie made by someone who drank 6 energy drinks, opened the Constitution, and started yelling at page 1. Everything feels louder, sharper, and more unhinged than it used to be. And somehow, Robert De Niro walked right into the middle of it.
It's nice to share this event with so many committed people here in this room and out in the streets. And I'm proud to stand with an Indivisible and all the organizations promoting No Kings. The concept of No Kings is a great rallying cry and hugely successful as millions of us have answered the call. I support this movement 150%.
In the center of all this chaos stood Robert De Niro, a man who has spent decades playing gangsters, broken fathers, paranoid loners, and emotionally drained men who always look about 5 minutes away from arguing with someone in a parking lot. He has built a career on intensity. He knows drama better than almost anyone in Hollywood. But somehow, real life has now become more dramatic than almost anything Hollywood ever gave.
Passionate about free speech and a huge supporter of the ACLU. So along with nearly 500 other actors, directors, musicians, and more than 50,000 ACLU supporters, of course I signed the letter. The letter also included a statement about how our First Amendment rights transcend politics, other beliefs. That part began, regardless of our political affiliation or whether we engage in politics or not. We all love our...
After all those legendary performances, you would think De Niro had already seen every kind of drama possible. But politics found a way to outdo the movies. When he stepped onto that stage and demanded that Donald Trump be stopped now, the reaction was instant. The crowd erupted, Trump supporters fired back, and social media turned into the world's loudest argument within minutes. It was explosive, messy, and exactly the kind of chaos everyone should have seen coming.
When the crowds are chanting "No Kings," what I'm really hearing, as we all know, is "No Trump."
That's right.
There have been other presidents who have tested the constitutional limits of their power, but none have been such an existential threat to our freedoms and security. None, except Trump. He must be stopped, and he must be stopped.
The crowd reacted like they had just heard the final speech in an underdog sports movie. Trump supporters reacted like someone had insulted their favorite football team, their family barbecue recipe, and their pickup truck in the same sentence. And honestly, this moment was never going to stay calm. The second De Niro appeared at the No Kings event, the atmosphere was already loaded. That slogan was designed to hit a nerve because it touches one of America's oldest fears: concentrated power. America has spent centuries telling itself it escaped kings, tyrants, and rulers who think the law does not apply to them. So when people chant "No Kings," they are not being subtle. They are basically saying, we are not turning the White House into a royal palace with cable news coverage. De Niro leaned straight into that energy. He praised the movement, spoke to the crowd, and then dropped the line that took over the internet. He said when people chant "No Kings," what he really hears is "No Trump." And just like that, social media became a Thanksgiving dinner argument with Wi-Fi.
I choke on that phrase, we all love our country. Because our country isn't so lovable right now. In the current climate, declaring love for our country is like an abused spouse professing love for their abuser. I've never thought of citizenship as being an act of love. I've tried to be a good citizen. I pay my taxes, vote, obey the law, recycle, stay within the speed limit. Most of the time. Not all.
Into that tense political atmosphere walked Robert De Niro. And he did not deliver the usual careful celebrity speech about unity, healing, and listening to each other while soft piano music plays in the background. He went directly at Trump. He described him as a threat to freedom and security. He argued that Trump needed to be stopped immediately. He also accused his administration and Republican allies of enabling dangerous behavior because of fear and self-interest. That was not soft celebrity concern. That was verbal gasoline. And of course, Trump was never going to hear that and respond with quiet reflection. Trump has spent years turning celebrity criticism into fuel. Every actor who attacks him becomes another piece of evidence for his supporters that cultural elites are terrified of him. So when De Niro spoke, conservative commentators quickly framed it as another wealthy Hollywood figure lecturing regular Americans from a stage filled with cameras and applause.
Months ago, the ACLU asked me to sign a letter supporting Jimmy Kimmel when he was taken off the air by Trump administration censorship and ABC complicity. The letter began, "We, the people, must never accept government threats to our freedom of speech. Efforts by leaders to pressure artists, journalists, and companies with retaliation for their speech strike at the heart of what it means to live in a..."
But what made this moment different was the intensity. De Niro did not sound like someone casually endorsing a candidate. He sounded genuinely alarmed, like a man who believes the country is driving toward a cliff while half the passengers are arguing about memes. Even people who disagreed with him could feel the urgency in his voice. The line, "He must be stopped now," became the center of the controversy. Trump supporters called it fear-mongering. Trump critics called it a blunt warning about democracy, executive power, and accountability. In modern America, even one sentence can turn into a political battlefield. Meanwhile, regular people were sitting at home wondering why buying eggs now requires emotional strength and a backup budget.
No corrupt leader enriching himself and the Epstein class buddies. No taking away health care from our most vulnerable neighbors. No unaffordable groceries, no unaffordable energy, no unaffordable housing, and no inflation at its highest level since COVID. No government masked thugs shooting down our neighbors in the streets. Trump has to be stopped. And that's what No Kings is all about. Because he can't do all the fucked up things that he's been doing.
The No Kings movement became a major talking point because the symbolism was impossible to ignore. Supporters framed it as a stand against authoritarian behavior, unchecked power, and political intimidation. They talked about democracy, civil rights, equality, and accountability. Critics saw it very differently. To them, the movement sounded exaggerated, dramatic, and intentionally inflammatory. They argued that comparing elected leadership to monarchy was designed to provoke anger, not create serious discussion. And honestly, the imagery was always going to start a fight, because American politics now runs on spectacle. Everything has to be bigger, louder, angrier, and more viral than whatever happened yesterday. Calm debate disappeared somewhere between trending hashtags and cable panels, where 6 people yell at once while a 7th points at a map nobody understands. De Niro's speech landed perfectly in that environment because it was sharp, emotional, and impossible to ignore.
We would not allow terrorists. I owe this city a lot. And that's why it's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street. Because he doesn't belong in my city. I don't know where he belongs, but he surely doesn't belong here. We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading as a big shot. A two-bit playboy lying his way into the tabloids.
The irony around De Niro himself makes the whole thing even stranger. For decades, he represented old-school cinematic cool. This is a man tied to legendary films, iconic roles, and performances that helped shape American acting. Yet now, younger audiences increasingly know him as the actor who absolutely cannot stand Donald Trump. Imagine winning Oscars, creating classic movies, and becoming one of the most respected actors in history, only to later become a recurring character in political warfare memes. At this point, De Niro and Trump have one of the strangest rivalries in American public life. It feels less like politics and more like 2 completely different versions of America arguing through television screens.
Every way possible, they have to get out there. This is it. This is our country. You know, I want my country back. I don't want everybody going around with their the MAGA with the American flags like they're the only ones. We are the Americans too, and I think there are more of us. No, I don't think, I know there are more of us, because we believe in what's right and wrong, empathy, kindness, bringing the country together.
One side represents Hollywood, cultural institutions, and liberal activism. The other represents populist anger, anti-establishment politics, and aggressive political branding. And neither side seems interested in lowering the volume. Trump's political style has always thrived on conflict. Every criticism becomes proof that he is being attacked. Every controversy becomes another chance to say he is fighting the establishment. That strategy works because outrage keeps attention locked in place. Even his opponents sometimes help keep him at the center of the conversation by reacting to everything he does. De Niro, on the other hand, represents the frustration of people who genuinely believe Trump's influence threatens democratic stability. For many critics, that fear is not an act. It is real exhaustion after years of political chaos. The problem is that millions of other Americans hear those same warnings and roll their eyes because they feel like they have heard them for years.
To be a spokesperson for himself. He was calling it as himself for himself, to fool the press into inflating his net worth. A clown. But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns. We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city.
To Trump supporters, celebrity outrage can start to sound like a fire alarm that never stops ringing. After a while, people stop panicking and start making jokes about the noise. That divide explains why this speech spread so quickly. Americans are not just arguing about policies anymore. They are arguing about reality itself. One side hears defending democracy. The other hears political hysteria. One side sees authoritarian danger. The other sees manufactured panic from elites. And somehow, both sides are completely convinced they are the reasonable ones. That is the defining feature of modern politics. Debate is no longer about changing minds. It is about performance. Public figures speak to energize their own side, not persuade the other side. politics has become sports fandom with better suits and worse consequences.
And I wonder if you've seen things realign in your own life because of this moment in our politics.
Yeah, you run into people like you, that we normally would not. And you do find yourself aligned with people because there's a common interest, a common goal, a common need to defeat what's happening in this country. It's so blatant and scary. And this is not what I want to be doing.
The irony gets even deeper when you remember that Trump also came from entertainment culture. Before politics, he was already a television personality. He understood branding, conflict, and spectacle better than many career politicians ever did. That is part of why he dominated attention so easily. He knew how to create a moment, control the camera, and turn criticism into free promotion. So when Hollywood celebrities attack him, the clash almost feels inevitable. It is like two massive attention machines fighting over the national spotlight. Meanwhile, ordinary Americans are watching politicians, billionaires, celebrities, activists, media figures, and influencers scream about saving the country, while rent prices quietly do gymnastics in the background. Still, De Niro's speech connected with people because it tapped into real anxiety. Even people who dislike celebrity activism can admit that political tension in America has reached a serious level. Trust in institutions is falling. Public conversation feels permanently hostile. Every election is described as the most important election in history. And underneath all the noise, there is one thing driving everything: fear.
As President Lincoln reminded us, is meant to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The people. Tragically, we're now in a country of, by, and for a handful of dishonest, greedy, and cruel authoritarians. So, love our country? Let me ask you. Can you love a country where our neighbors are shot down in the streets by masked government thugs? No. Can you love a country that denies health care for tens of millions of our fellow citizens?
Trump supporters fear censorship, economic instability, elite institutions, and losing cultural influence. Trump critics fear authoritarian behavior, democratic erosion, extremism, and institutional collapse. Both sides believe the country is reaching a dangerous turning point. Both sides believe the other side does not understand the stakes. That emotional climate turns speeches like De Niro's into national flashpoints. And somewhere in the middle of all this, exhausted campaign staffers are probably trying to figure out whether celebrity outrage actually changes votes or just creates another 72-hour social media storm before everyone moves on to the next controversy. But De Niro's comments lasted longer than a normal celebrity rant because they reflected something bigger. They captured the emotional exhaustion of a time when political disagreement no longer feels like disagreement. It feels existential. Americans no longer argue like neighbors debating taxes. They argue like rival civilizations fighting over the future.
A person like Trump who will eventually run the country, that does not work, and we all know that. Anyway, we make room for clowns, to each his own. But no one takes him or took him really seriously. They take him seriously now, of course. But around the country, people who didn't know him as we did started to support him. They bought into his bullshit.
By the end of De Niro's speech, the crowd was roaring, cameras were flashing, and social media had already turned the moment into a digital battlefield. Supporters called it courageous resistance. Critics called it Hollywood hysteria. Neutral viewers were probably scrolling through grocery prices and wondering if civilization peaked back when gas was cheap and DVDs still mattered. But the moment mattered because it captured the emotional state of the country with uncomfortable accuracy. America feels angry, divided, suspicious, exhausted, and permanently online. Political arguments spread faster than facts. Outrage travels faster than nuance. everyone believes the other side has completely lost its mind. When Trump supporters reacted with anger, mockery, and defiance, they were expressing their own fear that powerful cultural voices are trying to silence or delegitimize a movement they believe represents ordinary Americans ignored by elites. That is the real story underneath all the shouting. Not just Robert De Niro versus Donald Trump, but two visions of America staring at each other across a widening divide. Both sides believe they are defending the country. Both refuse to back down. And both have microphones powerful enough to turn every disagreement into a national event. And somehow, through all of it, the rest of America is still just trying to buy groceries without needing a small business loan.